Alright, in this video we are going to look at naming vectors and creating their component form. So let's first look at naming them, how we would name it. So let's say that we had 2 points on the line, just to give an example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line through it, making this what would look like in geometry what we would call a ray. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this line. Right, let's say that's an arrow right there. And now that I've drawn this, right, this is a vector and it has a direction, right? It's starting at A and it's going through B. Vectors have direction and magnitude. Direction is going to be the angle at which the vector is pointed, and magnitude is the size or length of the vector. Now, whenever somebody asks you to name a vector, what we're going to simply do is just take the variable that represents the ordered pair, A, and B, which represents this point right here, and we're going to go ahead and write that together, and we would call this vector AB. So notice it looks like a ray symbol, but we simply refer to it as vector AB, and this is notation that you will use in order to show that it is a vector when asked to name it. Terminal point is the end. The initial point is where we started. And if we named it, it's simply AB. Now, if we were to say this, if you wanted to say this, and somebody said, well, what is that vector? You would just say that it's vector AB. That's how we would state it. If you wanted to create the symbol that represents it in vector notation, we would just simply write AB with a ray on top. On the other hand, when we're asked to put this in component form, so I'm going to write that down here. I'm going to write component form. And I'm going to put an arrow. What we need to do is we need to count how many units we move to the right to get it to line up. And we call that our horizontal component. And then we need our vertical component. So how many values or units do we have to move up to get to the point? In other words, I'm just going to go and count these out as I do them. If I were to go from A to line up with B to the right for the horizontal component, I had to move over 2 times. 1 value and 2. And then if I wanted to go from this point up until I contacted the end of it, or our terminal point, I would have to move up 1, 2, 3. So you can think about it as finding our rise and our run of slope. And we're going to use that to write this in what we call component form. That AB is equal to 2, which is our horizontal movement, right, that we went to move to the right to get lined up with the terminal point, comma 3, which is how many values or how many units we moved up to get to that terminal point. So the 2 things that you know from this lesson right here that's real short is this is how we name a vector, vector AB, and this is how we put it into component form. We look at our horizontal and our vertical movement. And that's all there is to it. The top value is how we name it. The bottom is its component form.